Once I disconnect this is a fan and heatsink. What I'm seeing here is an embedded chip that is on the circuit board. So on this board there's a chip here. This chip here is a GPU.
One of the coolest things I've discovered about circuits is circuitry can be an art form. Like if I have a creative idea, I can get that creative idea out using circuits. So if you have ideas, you can use technology to make those ideas come to life. Every input or output of a computer is effectively a type of information, which can be represented by on or off electrical signals, or ones and zeros. In order to process the information that comes in as input and to make the information that's output, a computer needs to modify and combine the input signals. To do this, a computer uses millions of teeny electronic components, which come together to form circuits.
Let's take a closer look at how circuits can modify and process information that's represented in ones and zeros. This is an incredibly simple circuit. It takes an electrical signal, on or off, and it flips it. So if the signal you give it is a 1, the circuit gives you a 0. And if you give the circuit a 0, it gives you a 1. The signal that goes in is not the same as the signal that comes out, and so we call this circuit not.
More complicated circuits can take multiple signals and combine them and give you a different result. In this example, a circuit will take 2 electrical signals. Now, each one might be a 1 or a 0. If either of the signals coming in is a 0, then the result is also a 0. This circuit will only give you a 1 if the first signal and the second signal are both a 1, and so we call the circuit AND. There are many small circuits like this that perform simple logical calculations. By connecting these circuits together, we can make more complex circuits that perform more complex calculations. For example, you can make a circuit that adds 2 bits together, called an adder. This circuit takes in 2 individual bits, each one a 1 or a 0, and adds them together to calculate the sum. The sum can be 0 plus 0 equals 0, 0 plus 1 equals 1, or 1 plus 1 equals 2. You need 2 wires coming out because it can take up to 2 binary digits to represent the sum. Once you have a single adder for adding 2 bits of information, you can put together multiples of these adder circuits side by side to add together much larger numbers.
For example, here's how an 8-bit adder adds the numbers 25 and 50. Each number is represented using 8 bits, resulting in 16 different electrical signals that go into the circuit. The circuit for an 8-bit adder has lots of little adders inside of it, which together calculate the sum. Different electrical circuits can perform other simple calculations like subtraction or multiplication. In fact, all the information processing your computer does is just lots and lots of small, simple operations put together. Each individual operation done by a computer is so simple, it could be done by a human, but these circuits inside computers are way faster.
Back in the day, these circuits were big and clunky, and an 8-bit adder could be as big as a fridge, and it would take minutes for them to perform a simple calculation. Today, computer circuits are microscopic in size and way faster. Well, why are smaller computers also faster?
Well, because the smaller the circuit is, the less distance the electrical signal has to go. Electricity moves at just about the speed of light, which is why modern circuits can perform billions of calculations per second.
So, whether you're playing a game, recording a video, or exploring the cosmos, everything you could possibly do with technology requires lots of information to be processed extremely quickly. Underneath all this complexity is just lots of teeny little circuits that turn binary signals into websites, videos, music, and games. These circuits can even help us decode DNA to diagnose and cure disease. So, what would you like to do with all these circuits?
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you back to class, and we are continuing our studies on computer hardware components. And we've had an amazing time and have studied about the peripherals. We've looked at input output peripherals, storage peripherals. We've looked at a lot of components like the case, the power supply unit, the motherboard, and the internal components on the motherboard. We've looked at most of them. We've looked at the central processing unit. We've looked at the heat sink. We've looked at the cooling fan. We've looked at the RAM. We've discussed the ROM. We've discussed the CMOS battery. And today we are going to begin our studies with the graphics card. Alright, so we are starting our studies today on the graphics card, and this is an amazing component in computers, and it helps in adding a new dimension to the performance of your computer. And if you have a graphics card, your computer is going to work in an amazing way. Of course, this is a peripheral. When you add it to your machine becomes more powerful. Anytime you connect a graphics card to your machine, you get a more powerful machine. That is amazing, and it helps in delivering high quality display or graphics. Now I'm going to ask a simple question, and the question is this: what is a system? What is a system? What is a system? When we say system, what is the meaning of system? A system means a set of things working what? A set of things. The things can be components. A set of components working together as part of a mechanism or an interconnecting network. A set of things working together. So now when we say the computer system, we are simply talking about a set of components all working together to make the machine work. A set of components all working together to make a computer work. That is what we mean by a computer system. And so once we introduce this component into the computer system, the computer becomes more powerful. And the component we are talking about here is the graphics card. This picture here is one of the best pictures you see about graphics cards because it looks great. Now let me read what is here. A graphics card, also known as a video card. So remember, you can call this a video card, no problem. You can call it graphics card, no problem at all. It's a piece of computer hardware that generates graphic display to the monitor and manages the graphics performance of the computer. Interesting. This card here generates graphic display to the monitor. Now, when we talk about the computer system, there is one part of the system that controls display. Your display can come from the motherboard because there's a graphics display system on the motherboard or a graphics display unit on the motherboard. And what it does is that it helps display to or graphics to show on the monitor whenever a cable, the right cable, is connected. Now, the integrated graphics unit on your motherboard is not enough for high quality display. Every motherboard can process display or graphics. So when you connect the right cable, in our next lesson we'll be looking at the cables we use to connect to computers. If you connect the right cable, you are going to get a display. But the display you usually get on your monitors is not a high quality display. And so if you want better display quality, then you can introduce a new component that will take over the graphics processing and control the graphics and display from your computer. That is what this amazing component does. Sometimes when you use a graphics card, it is because you are looking for better display. Other times it is because it is a requirement for certain applications. For example, let's say you are an architect and you are using an architectural design software like AutoCAD. AutoCAD may not be able to run on an ordinary machine. If you have a machine and you want AutoCAD to work and you want the 3D aspect of AutoCAD to work, it will only work if your graphics hardware reaches a certain requirement. But the onboard graphics or the integrated graphics from your machine may not be enough, and so you'll have to connect a graphics card to your machine to solve that problem. Sometimes we use graphics cards because we want to solve graphics processing problem, or because we just want high quality display. Are you with me? If you are a video editor, you need graphics card, because whenever you are rendering your video, it does a lot of graphics processing. Right now, I'm recording my screen. I'm recording everything that displays on my screen, and I am using the computer at the same time. The machine I'm using now, if I open a graphics design program right now, the graphics processing will become too much for the onboard graphics to handle. So if I go and open to Photoshop right now, my machine is going to start experiencing some challenges because of all the graphics related works it is doing. Now, if I know I'll be doing a lot of graphics related works on my machine, I will not sit down and use the ordinary graphics on the motherboard. I need to do my homework and use a graphics card. If I install a graphics card, I have solved my graphics processing problems. Now, this chip you are seeing here, or this card, we call it card, graphics card. When it comes to computing, when we talk about card, we are not talking about business card or invitation card or birthday card and those things. When we talk about card, we are talking about a circuit board like this with these parts, these long sticks here where you can slot in expansion slots. So all cards look like this. Please, are you with me? Excellent. Now, this card you are seeing here only works in desktops. It only works in what? There's no way this can be connected to a laptop. Laptops do not make room for expansion like this. And so when you check over here, you can see that this is a PCI Express X16 or by 16 slot. This is what will be used for that. So this works for desktops. I want to add more information to graphics cards, and you are going to get a better understanding. All right, when it comes to graphics cards, you have to understand that the whole card is meant for graphics processing. Because of that, sometimes some people call it a GPU. Have you heard GPU before? GPU stands for graphics processing unit. We have CPU. CPU stands for what? Okay, take this. We have GPU. If today is the first time you are hearing about it, then keep it in your mind very, very well, because you need to know that we have GPU. GPU stands for graphics processing unit. Now, This particular component you are seeing here is not okay to be called a GPU because it is a graphics card. If you want to call it by another name, you have to call it a video card. It is a video card, it's a graphics card. Now, on this graphics card, there are a number of important components on the card. Listen carefully. On top of this card is a chip, a special chip for graphics processing. That particular chip is called a GPU. Wait a minute. A GPU looks like a CPU, but that GPU processes only graphics, and that GPU is on top of the graphics card. So the graphics card is not a GPU, but the GPU is on the graphics card. Because the GPU is a processor like the CPU, what you are seeing here, the covering you are seeing here, is a heat sink or a cooling system. And it comes with a fan. Do you see a fan? Because the processor generates heat. Are you with me? I'm sure you are here. When you lift this particular covering, you are going to see how the GPU looks like. I'll be showing you one here, and I'll show you the fan, and I'll show you the GPU on it. But let me add some more information before I do that. Please, are you with me? Excellent. Listen. On top of a video card or graphics card, we have a number of things. We have a GPU, number one. Keep that in mind. Number two, we have what we call Vram. Vram. And it stands for video RAM. It stands for what? Video RAM. That means there is a special random access memory on a graphics card. That random access memory, it only stores video data, and so it is called video RAM. Listen, anytime a graphics card is introduced into a computer system, it makes the computer more powerful immediately. One of the ways it does that is this. Because it has a GPU, it does not bother the CPU when it comes to graphics processing. The CPU does a lot of processing, or does general processing in the system. When you introduce a GPU or a graphics card, the GPU takes the responsibility of graphics processing and manages the graphics processing so that the CPU doesn't have to do any graphics related processing. If you have a separate GPU on your motherboard, then your GPU from your graphics card is going to give better performance to the graphics processing. So it frees the machine from its heavy load. Number two, what the VRAM does is that it takes the storage responsibility from your main RAM and bears all video related storage. So any storage that is related to video will not be done by your main RAM. So what will happen? Your main RAM will be freer to concentrate on other important things and will not use all of its effort trying to do everything, because the VRAM will come in and take charge of video RAM. Are you with me? And so when you connect a graphics card, you have added a lot of support to your computer. So it gives you your super display and it makes your machine generally faster. That is a graphics card. I'm going to show you a small graphics card. It is not as beautiful as what you are seeing, but I'm going to show you, and I'll talk about the ports we are seeing here. So far I can see DVI and HDMI on this. All right, now what I'm holding here is a graphics card. Sometimes when you see any card, you may not be able to tell the type of card you are looking at. Now, sometimes when you are holding a card, to be able to tell the type of card you are looking at, you need to check the ports here. After this lesson, we are going to learn all the ports. So once you see the ports, you can tell. The port I'm seeing here is a DVI port, and this port is HDMI port. Because of these two ports, DVI and HDMI, I know that they are related to graphics. When you see a sound card, the port you'll be seeing here will be the sound audio port. You see that the audio ports are small, and once you see that here, no one should tell you that you are holding a sound card. What I'm holding is not a sound card. This is a graphics card because I'm seeing the graphics port. These two ports are amazing. This is a DVI port, and this is HDMI. This is the most popular high display ports around. It stands for HDMI, High Definition Multimedia Interface, and it's an amazing one. So by looking here, I can tell. I have one other card here. I don't have a lot, but this card here, I may not know what it is called. But when I look here, what do I see? USB. So I can call it a USB card or USB expansion card. Simple. Is that okay? Let's look on the screen and look at the next port here. This port here, sorry. Let's look at the next card here. The next card on the screen, who can tell me the type of card it is? It's a sound card. Even if you don't see that the title says sound card, by looking at this and checking the port here, oh come on, this is for audio, right? So I can tell that this is sound. Is that okay? All right, let me talk about the graphics card again. This graphics card is having a fan here. What is this fan for? This fan is trying to cool something, and when I check inside here, I can see that there's a heatsink under the fan. So the fan is on top of a heatsink, and let me try and disengage the fan and we will see what is under. I'm trying to remove the fan, and once I remove it, once I disconnect this is a fan and heatsink. What I'm seeing here is an embedded chip that is on the circuit board. So on this board there's a chip here. This chip here is a GPU. It's like a small CPU that has been placed directly on the board. This chip here is what is called a GPU. GPU stands for what? Graphics Processing Unit. It is also a processor, just like your CPU. But what it does is to do only graphics calculations or graphics processing. So this is what is responsible for all processing when it comes to display. And display requires a lot of processing and a lot of calculations. A lot of binary and a lot of pixels and a lot of RGB calculations are done for display to be correct. And this is the processor in charge of graphics. It's called GPU. So GPU is on top of the graphics card. The graphics card is not a GPU, even though sometimes you hear that this is a GPU. The whole card is called a graphics card or a video card, but the GPU is the processor on top of it. Is that okay? Now this flash memory you are seeing here, the flash memories you are seeing here are the Vram. Are you with me? When you take a normal RAM, you are going to see some of the flash memories on them, and they are responsible for the storage of the data. Are you with me? On this particular video card, we are going to see the flash memories on them, and they are responsible for storage. And I said these memories are called what? Apart from it being a flash memory, what is it called? VRAM. Is that okay? Now, you know we have RAM. RAM stands for what? When it comes to graphics cards, you are going to hear VRAM. VRAM stands for what? Excellent. You are very, very smart. You are smarter than the word itself. All right, that is great. So at least I've been able to show you the ports, I've been able to show you the GPU, and I've been able to show you the VRAM. And you know that this side here will connect to PCI Express by 16, X16, and we've already learned about that. So let me put it aside and we will continue with what is on the screen. All right, so I'm sure you have some information about graphics card. For the last time, I want someone to tell me the name of this component and the function. Give me the name and function of this component. Function of the graphics card, or the graphics card is responsible for generating display or graphics on your display device. The graphics card is responsible for generating your display or your graphics. What it means is that the graphics card is what allows you to see anything on a monitor. It's what allows you to see on a monitor. Without a graphics card, you may not see anything on a monitor. And when I say monitor, I'm talking about your screen, your projectors, or any display device. This is what is responsible for display. Are you with me? Every motherboard has an area that works on display. And so even without a graphics card, you are still going to get a display. Only few computers have graphics cards. And if you want a graphics card, you have to put it in yourself intentionally. You will not buy a computer with a graphics card. Are you here? If you need a graphics card, it is something you install intentionally. So you go to PC shop, you buy a graphics card based on the VRAM and the GPU requirements you are looking for. Then you bring it home, open your machine, install it. Then you have a graphics card. It does not mean computers have graphics cards in them, or it does not mean all computers have graphics cards. Computers are not manufactured with graphics cards. Graphics cards are peripherals that are purchased and added to computers to make them perform better. Is that okay? If you buy a computer, you get your display from the motherboard. You get your display from the internal graphics processing system or the integrated graphics processing system within the motherboard. And so you are going to get a display. That is why every computer gives you display. But that display, what we are saying is that it may not be enough for certain tasks, or the kind of quality it gives you may not be okay by you. So number one, if you want better display, then the only way to get a better display is to use a graphics card. Number 2, if you are using certain applications and those applications require higher graphics processing, you have no choice than to get the graphics cards. There are some video editing software that if you don't connect a graphics card, you can't use them. There are some graphic design software that if you don't connect graphics cards, you cannot run them. Are you with me? Hello? Are you sure you are here? There are some games, if you don't connect graphics card, you can't play them. Forget about it. Your friends will enjoy those games on their machines, but you can't play those games because you don't have a graphics card. Hello? Hello? As a matter of fact, there are some games, they require something we call SLI and crossfire. This SLI and crossfire, let me show you what it means. Please, are you here? SLI and crossfire. Watch this. This is SLI and crossfire. What SLI and crossfire means is that you are supposed to combine 4 graphics cards together in the same system and make them work together as one unit in the same system. If you want to do SLI and crossfire, it is done with multiple cards. There are some games, if you don't have SLI and crossfire, either you will not enjoy them because they will be breaking, or they will be slow, or they will not look clear, or they will not work at all. But if you have the SLI and crossfire, you are going to enjoy the games to its fullest, whatever. It's going to appear extremely clear, and you are going to see everything in high definition, and the game is going to work very well. It's not going to freeze, it's not going to break, it's not going to buffer. Everything is going to be fine because of the SLI and crossfire. What you are seeing here are 4 different graphics cards placed in one machine. That is serious. Again, I want to add that if you are using a laptop and you are having issues with graphics and you want to upgrade your graphics, what do? If you are using a laptop, you can't use a graphics card. Like my machine here, if I want to improve my graphics, the best solution for me is this. There's something we call eGPU, and eGPU, what eGPU does is that, let me give you this picture rather. This eGPU is a separate box that can be connected to laptops through either USB-C or Thunderbolt port. So the machine I'm using here, I have the USB-C and I can use Thunderbolt as well. So this is a eGPU. If you have a laptop and you want your graphics to be upgraded, you can't install a graphics card. You need to get this eGPU system, and you connect it to your machine through your USB-C. This is my USB-C. Hello. Very soon we'll look at USB cables, and you know the different types: USB type A, type B, type C, male and female, and all that. Now this eGPU unit here, or box here, so if you open them, some of them have expansion slots in them that can allow you to install expansion cards. So like the graphics card, it's possible to connect the graphics card inside this and keep it in this enclosed system and give it to your laptop. So this is called eGPU. And eGPU stands for external GPU. Okay, so like my machine, if I want to improve on my graphics, then this is my solution. I need to buy an eGPU enclosure system and connect it to my machine, and I'm going to enjoy my computer. I'll not have any graphics problems. Some of them are simple like this. Some of them are bigger like what I showed you. But once you connect this to your machine, you have graphics performance. This is what someone is using, and the person has connected this big box to his machine, and he has no graphics problem. Now, the onboard graphics may be good for some things, but if you use your machine for high intensive graphics related works, you are going to have graphics issues. Or if you intend to run certain applications that require high graphics or require a lot of graphics, you are going to have problems. So you need to use an eGPU or connect a graphics card. Is that okay? Let's move on to sound card. A sound card, also known as audio card, is an internal expansion slot that is used to produce sound in a computer to be heard through speakers or headphones. So this is a sound card. Later I'll look at all the ports and you understand the sound port, audio ports. But this is a sound card, and it's using PCI Express. This is by X1, and I can connect this and I'll get sound. Again, your motherboard has a sound system built onto it. You have an onboard sound. Are you with me? It doesn't mean computers are made with sound cards. No computer is manufactured and a sound card is added. No computer is like that. Your sound system is on your board, and your audio ports are behind your system unit. But sometimes, number one, the audio system on your motherboard can damage. Let me recap here with our graphics cards. There are some machines, their onboard video system is dead. So when you connect those machines to monitors, they don't work. Hello? You connect the machine, it's not working. So you send your machine to a technician, you tell him that when I on it, I see the light, but nothing shows on the screen. I've tried everything, nothing is showing. I've tried everything. For all you know, it is the video system on the board that is damaged. So when they fix a graphics card and they use a port here to connect to a monitor, voila, it's going to show. So sometimes people use graphics card because the onboard video system is damaged. When it comes to sound cards, maybe your machine is not producing sound. You've done everything. You've installed your drivers, you have used different cables, you have used different speakers, you have tried everything. It is not working for you. So maybe the sound system is not working. All you have to do is to buy a sound card. Once you connect to the sound card, voila, you get your audio is working. Sometimes the kind of ports you need for your audio is not available on your motherboard. Maybe you need a special port to connect to a different system or a different device, but you don't have that port on your computer's audio ports. So you need a sound card that will give you the port you need. All right, so this card, what it does is to process audio and produce audio from your computer. Are you here? Once you connect the sound card, you are able to get audio. Again, all these cards are expansion cards. Hello, When we say expansion cards, it means they are there for the upgrade of your computer. They are not core components that come with the computer. They are components that are added whenever you decide to make your computer have more performance. Is that okay? All right, let's see if we have another card. We have another card. This is one of my favorite cards. This is our network interface card. Network interface card. And network interface card, or NIC or NIC, also known as Ethernet card or network adapter, is an expansion card that allows computers to communicate over a network. It allows users to connect to each other and also to the internet by using network cables. Wireless network interface cards also allow internet connections wirelessly. Excellent. So these are normal NIC network interface card, and what it does is that it allows you to connect your computer to a network or the internet. Again, every computer motherboard has an Ethernet port. This port you are seeing here is on every machine. Hello. It's on every computer. But sometimes the onboard one may be damaged. And instead of throwing the whole computer away because that port is not working, you can just get a network or network interface card or network card and connect to it and make use of the ports here. This port here, like I said, we'll be learning about all the ports. This is one of the most important ports on computers. This is a port that allows computers to do networking. Have you heard of networking? This is a network port. With this port, you can connect your computer to a network. Number two, you can connect your computer to the internet. The reason why I'm saying number two is that a network can be a local network in an office or the internet. The internet is also a network. So this is what we use for networking. If you want to know more about networking, learn more about this port, Ethernet port. Now, over here we have a wireless NIC. And this is an amazing adapter or expansion card to use, because what it does is to allow you to get wireless communication. Almost no desktop is manufactured with wireless capability. Almost all laptops are manufactured with wireless capabilities. If you have your laptop and you want to connect to Wi-Fi, all you do is to click on the Wi-Fi icon, just connect. Simple. If you have a desktop, you don't have the wireless icon. If you want internet on your desktop, it is through cable. It is through what? You can't get wireless. If you are thinking of Wi-Fi for desktop, forget it. If you don't want to forget it, this is your solution. This is called the wireless network interface card. If you connect this into your desktop, immediately your desktop can access wireless internet or wireless network. If you want Wi-Fi on your desktop, just go to a computer shop and say you want a wireless network interface card. Hello? Maybe you have access to Wi-Fi, but your desktop cannot connect and you are wondering what to do. Go and buy this. Once you connect this to your desktop will work like your laptop. You'll be able to connect Wi-Fi. Is that okay? Let's move on. We've talked about hard drive already. We've talked about SSD already. We've talked about optical disk drive too, right? Optical disk drive stands for, okay, ODD stands for what? Optical disk drive. When we talk about optical discs, we are talking about CDs, DVDs, and Blu-ray discs. Those are called optical discs. Now, their drive is this component over here. This device here is their drive. The drive is what allows you to read and write data. So an optical disk drive is a disk drive that uses laser light to read data from and write data to optical disks such as CDs, DVDs, and Blu-ray discs. Although optical disk drives such as CD and DVD-ROM drives are still widely used, they are increasingly rare in modern computers, especially in portable PCs such as laptops. So laptops have stopped producing the optical disk drive. Notebooks do not produce them at all, and even in some desktops they don't include it because the optical disk drive is going out of the system, because CDs and DVDs are no longer used like before. They are no longer popular like before. Is that okay? All right. The next component we'll talk about is our keyboard. And this keyboard here, it says that a keyboard is an input device that allows a user to enter text and commands into a computer. It is the primary device used to enter text. Text can be in the form of letters and numbers and symbols. Alright, so our keyboard is our next component. We'll have a lesson dedicated to keyboard. This keyboard is our number one input device when it comes to desktop computers. This is our number one input device. When it comes to mobile computers, what happens is that our touch screen is our input, is what takes input into the system. But when it comes to desktop, our keyboard is the number one input device. And there are a lot of things on this keyboard that you do not know yet. If you think keyboard is just keyboard, please, you've made a terrible mistake. There's a lot about keyboard you need to learn. When keyboards were being created or invented, a lot of functions were built into the keyboard that you have not discovered yet. So you need to learn about keyboards, know the different types of keyboards and the different functions of the keyboard. We also have the mouse. If you think you understand mouse, please forget it. There are a lot of things about mouse that you don't know yet. A mouse, plural is mice. So when we have 2 or 3 of these, you can't see mouses. They are what? Mice. It's a handheld pointing device that detects motion on a computer screen and is used to manipulate objects on a computer. With a mouse, you can move the pointer and select various options on the computer screen. This mouse, is it an input or output device? It's also for input. So this is another input device. On your laptops, you have your touchpad for your input, but on your desktop you use a mouse. You can connect a mouse to your laptop as well. Okay, the last component we'll look at before bringing this lesson to a close is a monitor. A monitor, also known as a VDU. VDU stands for Visual Display Unit, or VDT, Visual Display Terminal. It's an output device that displays computer information in pictorial form. So it displays computer information or computer graphics in pictorial form. This monitor works directly with the graphics card or the GPU, and the information processed by the graphics card is sent through cables to the monitor. The monitor will construct the image, and you will see the image based on the quality it's able to work with. Is that okay? So this brings us to the end of lesson 6. We'll be moving to lesson 7 that talks about computer ports, cables, and connectors. And so from next week we'll start with that, and you'll have a lot to learn, and you'll be so happy you did, because you are going to learn a lot. Are you with me? If you are watching this video and you have a question, please leave your question in the comment box and I will answer you. And if you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to this video for more lessons on computer hardware and other IT lessons. Hit the like button and share with your friends. Again, I'm so happy to have you study with us. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.